This video is going to be the raw reality of building a business in the trenches and not being where you want to be yet, being stuck in the ugly middle. I'll give you some insight into what that feels like and what I'm experiencing right now as a 3-year business owner and entrepreneur and someone that's trying to break into the agency space online and see these crazy successes that all of our peers around us have seemed to grasp that we just haven't been able to yet. So I'm going to give you a breakdown of that in this video and a little bit about me and hopefully give you some insight. If you're looking to get into business, you're going to experience this. Everyone does. Or if you're going through it right now, I hope this can help out and give you some value. So put this in 2x speed, grab a coffee, sit down, and let's jump right into it. So to give you some background, I'm Ethan. I am a online entrepreneur. Been doing this for about 3 years. I started a series at the beginning of this year documenting my entire journey of scaling my AI agency from $0 to $100,000. And I was doing daily uploads until, a couple days ago. I've decided now to just provide value-based videos on a weekly basis, maybe a couple times a week, just to give you guys some more concrete value based on what I'm experiencing and what I'm learning along the way from a complete raw, simple perspective. So the main thing that I feel like I'm experiencing right now that many others have before is this experience of having the thing, having the knowledge, having the know-how of doing something, but just missing the physical, right? We're literally just missing the entire machine just isn't fully in sync in a sense, and we're not able to turn it on and go far. There's just some things that we have to fix to get the engine started so it can actually start running, right? Our engine kind of just spurred out. And that's kind of what you have happen at the start. Like your offer is not fully dialed in. Maybe your sales process isn't fully dialed in, but something in your system is, and you're getting volume from that, but it's not converting. So the whole machine isn't working. It's not synchronized. That's the position we're in right now. It's not pretty, it's ugly. You're kind of doing anything you can to make it happen. We don't have a reliable 9 to 5 job income source. We're just sitting here relying on, we have bills to pay. We're in places where we got to be gritty, we got to be, we were eating ramen, being careful with our diet and everything. And, just trying to make it through this time and see it through this time and put every penny we have back into the business and in ads and in getting this system to actually work cohesively and all the parts synced up so we can start driving fast and hit these big months and start kind of getting the business off the ground permanently and officially and getting in that 5-figure range and, just kind of paying that opportunity tax here now. And it's an interesting perspective to be in because it feels super lonely, first of all. And it's also something that you're kind of confused on, right? You have to use market feedback to understand what response you're getting and how you can improve what you already are working with, right? You just kind of have to take data. And the biggest advice that I could have for anybody that doesn't have data is go force yourself to get data. And the easiest way to get data is by actually doing. Okay, so if you want to run ads and you don't know if they're going to work, just start running ads and get some data and some feedback as to what the market responds to, right? The data is going to tell you exactly what you need to optimize, right? And that's the most important thing. If you're not tracking your data, you're going to have a very tough time in this ugly middle, very tough time because you're going to be stuck in it way longer than you need to be. But when you have data from a predictable acquisition system, sales calls, your numbers, and you understand your market more and more and more as you get more opportunities and more touches, you can use that data to optimize what you're working with already. And that is what we've been doing here, simplifying, optimizing, and making things better fit our market here lately. And this is kind of the evolution to be getting out of the ugly middle, right? You want to be only focusing on 2 things, right? There's 2 things in your mind. How can we get money in right now, right? What are ways I can make money right now and survive, right? You have that survival mindset in the first frame. And then the second one is like, okay, how can I actually build a business that makes me a boatload of money, right? How can I push this business forward, and actually get it to the revenue goal and make it a working machine, So those are kind of the 2 mind frames you're in, and it's really hard to battle between both, right? And sometimes you got to really shut down the survival brain and focus on the building brain, right? And it's one of those things as an entrepreneur as you start learning when to focus on that, when to focus on this, and when to tune everything else out because it's just noise. You cannot operate on a multi-interceptal brainwave, right? You can't have multiple things on your mind at once when you're trying to do a specific thing. It's not going to be the quality that you need it to be as a business owner and entrepreneur. So we're just kind of in that ugly middle, and it's a tough time. It's the dark ages, some would say, where it's not pretty, but you're just doing whatever you can to make it work. We've had some wins here recently, which is pretty cool. We had our client close his first job from the deals that we were bringing him, which is super sweet. And we got everything kind of revamped for what we're looking for now. Kind of had this big realization with cold traffic. You need to give them the least friction route possible. So on the front end, you want to bring friction, but you want to give them a payoff on the front end, right? So a value add just for doing what they're about to do for you, whether that's apply, book a call, etc. So we have a one step where they apply and they can get a digital showroom scorecard, which is essentially an insight that we personally do on their business, auditing their online presence, seeing what they can do better to enhance their business authority and branding, and also unlock more high ticket opportunities in their area for free. And that's something that we give them on the call. And that was a big thought for us, is like, okay, this is a great way to kind of lower the barrier for cold traffic. But also, since we added that value add, we can now add a barrier and add friction, right? Because it's more work for us to do that for someone on a call. We can add friction with a application, right? You have to apply to qualify for this. And then once they apply, they get brought into a, hey, you're accepted page, right? As long as they don't DQ with the conditional logic we have within that page. And then on that page, there's a VSL more so explaining our process in more depth, essentially, and going into what to expect on the call. And then they're able to book the call on that page to claim their digital showroom scorecard. It's a lot lower friction, and we've also switched our entire offer to a pay per result basis, so we can build a lot more trust and make it as easy as possible for them to say yes to what some would say is a complete stranger in some cases. Okay. So those are just some optimizations we're making here in the ugly middle, right? Learning on our own, not working with any mentors, using free knowledge online, using our own experiences and data sets that we're collecting, and also the help of AI trained on our business and best business practices based on all of our experience across 3 years. So we're getting there. I just want to tell you that the ugly middle does not stay for very long. You will get out of it eventually. Okay. You just need to keep looking at your data and keep optimizing, keep improving, and find as many ways as you possibly can to improve your confidence and boost your confidence. Because in the ugly middle, you don't have definitive proof of concepts. When you don't have definitive proof of concept that the end-to-end thing that you do actually works really well, because you're kind of in that product market fit phase where you're kind of testing things and on the fulfillment side and also on the acquisition side for yourself, and you don't really know what it's going to do yet. So you're less confident on the sales calls, you're less confident within your marketing. But once you see even the smallest little wins, like a client closes a job or a client gets a big lead, that's when you can start building confidence up. Because when you have more confidence, the sales calls are that much more fluent, the marketing just hits that much harder, and you feel passion about what you're actually doing and how it's improving others, right? Imposter syndrome kills all great businesses, right? But you have to fight through the imposter syndrome so that way you can achieve and experience what real confidence looks like in a product. And that's something that's hard for a lot of people, right? They don't know what they're doing at the start, right? So you kind of just have to force yourself to learn the hard way. And that's one of the things that just really agitates a lot of people in the ugly middle, in the dark ages of business. And this isn't a game. We all know this isn't a game. This is a game, but it's a game that takes a long time to come into fruition. It's a game of life, man. It takes years. You don't just graduate college and a couple months. Takes a couple years. That's just the same with business. You don't make $1 million a year for a couple years unless you get really lucky, right? And you got a good network. It could happen. But that's just some things on my mind right now, going through the ugly middle. Going to try to keep posting for you guys. We're currently still at 11,000 cash collected on the agency. I'm going to be starting to do these videos here bi-weekly, putting up a couple times a week, just giving you some more value here, some raw talk insights on how I'm feeling as I'm going through this journey, man. It's a fun time. I get to work for myself, but I understand why normal people don't do this, But the payoff is like the benefit far outweighs the risk. And that's why we're still kicking, baby. So hope you guys enjoyed. Subscribe, follow the journey. I'm going to be posting a lot of valuable content like this here. And like the video, comment your thoughts, and if you've experienced this as well and how you got out of it. If you have any insight for me along the journey, if you're a masterful entrepreneur, I'd love to hear it too. And then also DM me on Instagram if you want to connect with me. I'll put it in the link down below in the description. Appreciate you guys for tuning in on this one. We'll see you in the next one. Keep pushing through the ugly middle. You're going to break through eventually.